The story begins on a quiet stretch of highway just before sunrise. A place where most people drive without noticing the world around them. But for Mara, this road was her life. A single mom who worked as a long-haul truck driver, she carried the weight of two worlds on her shoulders. Her job and her children. She woke before everyone else, packed her small thermos of coffee, kissed her kids on their sleeping foreheads, and stepped into a life most people never see. Mara did not choose trucking because she loved the road. She chose it because life left her no choice. Her husband had walked away when their youngest was still learning to say mama. Bills piled up. Her world felt like it was shrinking. And the only job that paid enough to keep her family together was behind the wheel of a massive machine that roared through the night. She learned to live with the loneliness of the interstate, the endless hum of asphalt, the silence that grew heavier the farther she drove from home. But Mara had something unbreakable inside her. A fierce, quiet courage. The kind that does not shout. The kind that survives. On the night that changed everything, she was hauling a heavy load across Nevada. The sky was dark, a storm building in the distance. Lightning flickered low along the horizon like a warning written in light. Mara tightened her grip on the wheel. She whispered a small prayer for a safe trip, a habit she never outgrew. Her CB radio crackled, a few truckers chatting, a few voices drifting in and out. But she kept mostly silent, thinking of her children, wondering if they were sleeping peacefully, wondering if they missed her. As she turned along a long, empty curve, she saw something ahead. At first, just a faint glimmer, then a flashing, then suddenly the unmistakable bloom of fire against the night. Mara's breath caught. A car lay crushed against the guardrail, smoke pouring upward, and beside it, a van overturned on its side. She hit the brakes. Her truck groaned under the sudden weight. She pulled onto the shoulder, her heart pounding, the storm winds howling across the open road. She jumped down from the cab, her boots hitting the gravel with a heavy thud. She ran toward the wreck, the heat from the flames warming her face as she approached. Inside the van, she heard something. A cry. Not a loud one. A small one. A child. Her pulse surged. She shouted, hoping for a response. And she heard it again. A weak, desperate sound. Help! The door of the van was jammed. She grabbed the handle. Pulled. It didn't move. She tried again. Still stuck. Her hands shook. Not from fear, but from urgency. Inside, she could see shadows moving. A father trying to shield his two small children as smoke filled the space around them. Mara yelled that she was there, that she would get them out. She braced her foot against the crushed metal, pulled with everything she had. Her muscles screamed. Her breath trembled. But the door still refused to open. She ran around to the back, kicked the glass. It cracked. Again. She kicked once more. It shattered inward. Smoke spilled out. She coughed as she climbed through. Heat pressed against her skin. The father's voice broke as he begged her to help his children first. Mara nodded, her eyes watering. She crawled through the tight space, found the smallest child, a girl, barely 5. The girl's cheeks streaked with soot, her eyes full of fear. Mara wrapped her arms around the little one, told her she was safe, told her she would not leave her. She backed out through the broken glass, holding the girl against her chest. The wind whipped the smoke around them. She carried the child to the safety of her truck and laid her gently on the passenger seat. Then she ran back without a second thought. The fire from the car grew hotter, flames crackling louder. Time was running out. She climbed inside again. The boy was shaking, maybe 7, trying to be brave, trying not to cry. Mara lifted him. He clung to her with desperate strength. She backed out again, her arms burning, her lungs tightening from the smoke. When she placed him beside his sister, she whispered, "You're both okay. I'm going back for your dad." The boy grabbed her sleeve. "Please hurry." She nodded, and she ran again. The storm winds were stronger now. The flames near the car had started to spread. She pushed herself through the broken frame. The father was trapped under a crushed seat, his leg pinned. He grimaced in pain. Mara tried lifting the seat. It didn't budge. She tried again, her hands slipping, the heat surging. The father told her to leave him, to take the kids and run. But Mara refused. She thought of her own children, of what it would mean if she were trapped and no one tried. She would not let this man die, not while she was there. She wedged her shoulder beneath the metal frame, gritting her teeth, her body trembling, and with a cry that came from the deepest part of her soul, she pushed upward. The metal shifted, just an inch, but enough. The father pulled himself free, pain twisting across his face. Mara grabbed him under his arms, helped him crawl toward the shattered opening, pieces of glass cutting into her forearms, smoke swallowing the air. Behind them, the car's gas tank gave a loud groan, a sound she had only heard in movies, a sound that meant they were out of time. She dragged him through, stumbled out with him onto the gravel, and then she heard it. A boom, a burst of light. The flames shot upward as the car exploded, and the heat seared the back of her neck. But they were clear. They were out. They were alive. She helped the father to his feet. He could barely stand, tears streaking down the soot on his face. He whispered, "How did you do that? Why did you come back?" Mara looked toward her truck, where the two children sat watching with wide, frightened eyes. And she said, "Because I would want someone to do the same for my kids." The sirens arrived minutes later. Paramedics rushed in. Firefighters drowned the flames. Highway patrol officers blocked the road. Mara stood there, hands shaking, heart still racing. She felt both heavy and weightless at the same time. The father hugged her, trembling, his children clinging to her legs. And in that moment she realized something. She had not just saved a family. She had saved a future. News of her bravery spread. Truckers across the country talked about the single mom who risked her life on a stormy night. Reporters tried to interview her, but she never chased recognition. She never thought of herself as a hero. She thought of herself as a mother, a worker, a person who simply did what had to be done. But the family she saved never forgot. Every year on that night they sent her a letter, a drawing from the children, a message of gratitude, a reminder that her courage had become part of their lives. Because of her, those children grew up. Because of her, a father lived to watch them grow. Because of her, a tragedy became a miracle. And back at home, when Mara tucked her kids into bed, when she kissed their foreheads, when she turned off the light, she felt something shift inside her. A quiet understanding that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it simply shows up on a lonely highway, in the middle of the night, in the body of a woman who thought she was just trying to survive. But survival is not small. Courage is not loud. And heroes are often the people who never call themselves one. Mara was one of them. A single mom, a truck driver, a woman who saved a family because she refused to look away. And long after the flames were gone, long after the wreck was cleared, her story continued to shine, a symbol of hope on a dark road, a reminder that even the most ordinary people carry extraordinary light within them.